Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning, and today we've got a really interesting combination that I'm excited to bring out and try it because it is kind of an old school combo of stuff. Although these shells are still produced, they've been around for a long time, and this shotgun and choke combo isn't necessarily known to be a very fantastic performer, or a lot of people don't like it at the very least. So I'm curious to see what this combo might be able to do, because I'm sure there's been a lot of turkeys dropped with this sort of combination over the years. So how capable is it? But for the shells I've got today, I brought out some more of the Remington Nitro Magnum extended range buffered Magnum shells. These are not technically a turkey load, they are more of a heavy field load if you want to call them that. But these ones are a 12 gauge, 3 inch, 1 7/8 ounce payload of lead 4s, moving about 10 feet per second. So very much your turkey shell type of specs. As you can see on the back here, they do have a wad, they are buffered, but they are not plated or anything like that. And to my surprise, when we've tested these shells so far, they have been better than a lot of the Remington turkey shells that are being made today. So a field load that gives decent performance, I guess we'll see what it does through today's combination, because that might be part of the determining factor here. But for the setup I brought today, I got out this guy. It's a Mossberg 500 AT. I believe it's from the early to mid 70s, somewhere in that range. It has a 28-inch barrel on it. However, it is the C-Lect choke. The C-Lect choke is Mossberg's version of the poly choke. If you don't know, you can tighten or loosen this outer collar to make these little fins on the inside of the barrel tighter or more open, and change your actual constriction on the fly just by adjusting the choke. A lot of people don't like them. They say they don't work. They say they're a pain to maintain. They're ugly. They get in the way, all that. But it was a sign of the 70s and 80s. A lot of shotguns had these. So what we're going to do today, I'm going to tighten this collar all the way down. That gives us right at a 670 constriction. So it is down there in that turkey choke range. So we'll see how it actually patterns with a heavy field load like these Remington Nitro Magnums. Might be good, it might be horrible. I don't know, but we're going to see what this old school combination is actually capable of. But as for today's test, everything is set up the same as usual. I'm not going to handicap that old setup at all. We're going to take our shot at 40 yards and put the round through the chronograph as well so we can get our velocity. So let's get you guys a view of that target and see what an old Mossberg C-Lect choke tightened all the way down to about 670 constriction can actually do with the Remington Nitro Mag number 4. Could be good, could be terrible. I don't know yet, but let's take our shot and see what we get. Alright, so that shell gave us 12-12 through the chrono. Boss claim is 12-10, so we're pretty well right on the money. And that is a 28-inch barrel, so it does make sense. So perfect for a velocity up here, but did we actually get a capable enough 40-yard turkey pattern from that combination? Let's go check it out and see. Alright, so now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and right off the bat, yes, we do have a dead turkey. There are multiple of them right down through the spine there, in the middle of his neck, that would have done the job for you. But you can immediately tell that this is nothing compared to a lot of today's modern turkey combinations. It is kind of a heavy field shell, it is a Remington shell, but we have seen some rather nice performances from that loading before, through modern turkey chokes anyway. So I think a lot of this just comes down to that C-Lect choke. It does tighten down to about 670, but I can guarantee you that the fins inside of there don't make nearly as smooth of a transition as an actual dedicated turkey choke does. We do see a nice even pattern here all throughout the paper. It's just not super tight and condensed down. Overall, I would say 40 yards is probably about the limit for this particular combination, but if you're hunting, 30 yards and in, you're going to be hammering them all day long. But moving in here and giving you guys a closer look, you can see that there is nowhere that bird can move to and get through that pattern. So out to 40, it's plenty capable enough, but it doesn't really have any kind of central hot core area to it either. It's just kind of an even spread of pellets all around the paper. Now granted, there really isn't any super major voids or anything. Kind of the biggest one is right above the top of his head there, along the edge of that turkey target. So So if I was going to ever use this combo, I would feel good enough to 40, but like we already mentioned, it's nothing compared to today's modern setups, even running this shell through a modern turkey choke either. I wish you could still hunt ducks with lead, because a lead 4 at a little over 1200 feet per second with that kind of a pattern would be an excellent waterfowl type of load. But unfortunately, we can't do that anymore. But when it comes to the turkey world, I mean, from a shotgun that is from the 70s, if you were hunting turkeys back in the 70s and you had that kind of a pattern all the way out at 40, I'd say you would be in pretty good shape. Back then, that was probably pretty impressive. So if it did the job then, it would still work today as well. So overall, I think it did okay, all things considered. It is not a fantastic turkey pattern when compared to today's stuff, but a lot of people really don't like those select chokes, and although it might not have tightened our pattern down all that much, it didn't completely ruin it either. We kept a nice even spread, so that's definitely a bonus to see. At the end of the day, I think it probably did about what I expected it to. It's nothing special. It would work. We have seen better from these shells through other setups, but I simply wanted to see what an old school combo like that would be able to do with a shell like this. And now I think we've got our answer, and it's good enough. And here's the wad from that shell. Very typical Remington stuff here. You can see they have the little raised ridge on the inside of the petals, but nothing stuck down in there. No major damage or anything to it. Looks perfectly fine for going through that select choke. Nothing out of the ordinary, and we definitely didn't over constrict it or anything like that. Didn't jam up on anything. So it really looks pretty good overall. Nothing I'm concerned with. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that performance right there? It's definitely nothing great or nothing special or nothing to write home about when it comes to a turkey pattern. You compare that to anything we've got today, it's not going to hold a candle to it at all. But for a 45 to 50 year old shotgun with a select choke that a lot of people don't like and a heavy field Remington load, I think that's pretty decent all things considered. It's not super tight, it's not super condensed, it doesn't have the hottest core to it or anything like that, but it held a nice even pattern across the paper. If you wanted to or needed to turkey hunt with that combination, if it was, you know, granddaddy's gun and you wanted to take it out in the field and see what you could do with it, you would still be okay out to 40 yards. That's probably about the limit that I would push it to, but if you're taking 30-yard shots and in or so, I mean, it's gonna hammer a turkey. The turkey ain't gonna know no different, that's for sure. And that's a lead 4. That can be a little picky at times anyway, so ultimately, I really don't think that's too terrible of a performance, all things considered. And it's probably about what I expected to see. I figured it was either going to be something like this or that select choke could completely just blow our pattern all over the place. But that's not what we saw. So leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of these Remington Nitro Magnum shells when it comes to turkeys? Or have you turkey hunted with an old Mossberg or anything like that that has a select choke or a poly choke or anything like that on it? And if so, what kind of results have you gotten out of them? Is that a combo or a pattern or shell or anything that you would ever actually turkey hunt with? Or would you still prefer more modern stuff overall? And maybe what other shells might you want to see us run through that select choke? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, you have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.